Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
First of all, let me start off with a warning, I guess. I saw this article right here, Meter.io decentralized protocol exploited for 4.3 million. If you've been following me over on Patreon or been listening to my videos for a longer time, you probably know I've done a lot of videos about staking, and specifically I've told you guys a lot about how staking / yield farming is literally one of the best things about crypto. The fact that you utilize DeFi to make actual crazy amounts of money, it's mind-blowing. But, there's a big but. One of the things you should also realize is that none of these protocols are inherently safe. And I've talked about, I think, a dozen of them by now. Crypto.com, you can get money on. Binance, you can get money on. A lot of decentralized protocols as well, or DAOs or whatever. I cannot really think of one where I'd be like, you know what? This is where I'd finally stash my 90% of my money and be completely comfortable. Then again, I have the same feeling with a bank. I would never really put all my money inside one just because you never really know what's going to happen if you ask me, huh? Not financial advice. However, what I want to quickly make clear here is that I really am a big fan of staking and yield farming, and I honestly suggest a lot of people to get into it and look into it and lend out your money, so to speak. But I'm going to also tell you that if you're looking into it and want to get yield, it could be 10%, 15% a year. Sometimes even more. People get 10% a month. Spread it out. Don't go everything into one specific basket, because even though you're thinking in your head, well, if I lose one of my 5 different stashes, I'm still going to cry. Yeah. But you'd rather have to lose only one than all of them. So always try to diversify a little bit with what different platforms you're going for, just in case a hack or a crazy thing like this happens. So fortunately, this is not a really crazy big hack, but it makes you realize these things. You know, the fact that these are still people making all these things, and that sometimes things do go wrong. So just a quick little disclaimer. Then some of the crypto news before we dive into the price. Traders move $800 million worth of Bitcoin away from exchanges. Is that scary? Absolutely not. This means absolutely nothing to me. Glassnode here said Bitcoin number of spent outputs with lifespan 3 to 6 months with a 7-day moving average just reached a 3-month high of 1.2, Previous 3-month high is 1200, same almost, was observed on 2 days ago. It says here, Bitcoin number of spent outputs with a lifespan of 3 to 6 months. What does this mean? To me, absolutely nothing. Why? Well, because if you look back here, right? Look back at whatever month this was, I don't know, August, September or something of 2021. You can see that the numbers spiked like crazy and the price just dropped afterwards. And a little bit later, the price spiked and this number spiked, but there's no real correlation between the price and whatever happens here. So you might say, oh, it's such a big discrepancy. It might, I don't know. So I'm literally going to say I don't care about this whatsoever. It's only got 7 likes as well, but it's a pretty big title, you know? It makes people a little bit scared maybe. Oh, moving away from exchanges, what is that? There's 2 ways to interpret the title. One is that people are taking their money off exchanges because they don't trust them, and the second one is they're becoming less likely to sell, and so they are, how do you say it? I guess the easiest way to say it then, I should actually move over to the left a little bit. There we go. And another way to say it is that $800 million is taken off exchanges because they are not really willing to sell anymore. So they're going to basically keep it in their own stash, which is a good thing. All right, then it said crypto heading for another crash, warns ex-bot director. Former Bank of Thailand director Anusarnava on Sunday warned Thailand's growing army of crypto investors that the digital asset could crash again in March. A quick, easy answer to this is yes, it could. So, again, if they're not giving us the best course of action and saying, hey, warning, it could crash again. I'm like, yeah, duh, it could pump, it could crash. Give me the exact, you know, the ins and outs. If I'm saying, there might be a market crash, what can you do with this information? And he says March here, which is a little bit more specific. I like that, but then there's so little context to it right here that it's literally impossible, because what I'm also thinking about is, okay, if they're saying crypto can crash, are they really saying that every other asset rather than crypto is going to be fine? Well, no. He says predicted that another cryptocurrency crisis could hit next month as central banks move to taper quantitative easing and raise interest rates. This is inherently quite negative for literally everything that I can think of except for maybe gold. So what exactly will you flee to? What exactly will you go for? It's bad for everything. So he's talking about a cryptocurrency bubble will emerge at the end of March when liquidity in the financial markets drop. Interesting thoughts. Very interesting thoughts. I think this is a little bit of an empty promise. Then again, he may be right in terms of the fact that it might crash a little bit more. But it's a temporary thing. It's not a bubble that's about to crash, if you ask me. It's a temporary shift in perspective from a lot of people, and it's big money moving around, you know, to make the biggest yield that they can. So if the money, or if the market goes down, basically, people are noticing that there's money to be made somewhere else that's more or something like that. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it's going to be too significant, but at least we've been warned, I guess. Thank you for nothing. All right. So there's also another article, and this is actually a lot of BS that I've seen today, guys. And I like to also dig through it, I guess, and kind of cover it for you guys so you can hopefully get some better insights out of this yourself. McDonald's crypto tweet was perfect bottom signal. What does that mean? Well, I can interpret it in a couple of different ways, but what it means is McDonald's, funny enough, was kind of saying, hey, you crypto Twitter guys, how's it hanging? When crypto's at the bottom, and then the price went up. That's it. It's not really a difficult story. It's not really a wonderful story in any way, shape, or form. That's it. So this article is completely baseless, stupid, has no meaning whatsoever. You cannot do anything with this information. They just had a tweet. It was right at that point. It's not a signal for anything. Does not mean anything. McDonald's is not manipulating the crypto market in that way. It is sort of getting a lot of attention to it, but this means absolutely nothing. So please, guys, don't dig in it too deep. All right, then, before we move on once more into the crypto prices specifically, I want to quickly share with you guys a little bit about what coins I'm buying. So let me quickly put this into perspective, like right there. So generally speaking, I've told you that in times like this, I think we should prioritize cryptos that are. Let me go for the full screen. Here's the microphone. In times like this, guys, I honestly think we should go for coins that have better fundamentals rather than high potential and crazy pump potential. Now, we've had a discussion before on the channel here about whether or not it's smart to get XRP in times like this, or a coin like VeChain or whatnot. To give the story some meaning here, I'll put it out of frame. There we go. To put it into perspective here, I like it closer. You know what? Screw this. It's going to be in your face. No worries. I personally like it more to say it like this. There's a probability, and that's pretty high. Well, let's say it's even a 50-50, you know what? That the crypto prices will be moving down from here. As we will look into just a second about the crypto prices, there's a very high probability that any side can happen, basically. Tomorrow is again a critical point as we have the stock market opening, and again, the stock market is in the exact same situation as Bitcoin right now, where it's a little bit indecisive, which is why they're still in some sort of correlation battle. We'll talk about that later. So, with that having said, if the crypto market moves up, most likely it's going to be some of the bigger caps that get the gains first, and then the smaller caps pretty quickly afterwards are going to go berserk, just crazy, mental. But if we go down, the lower caps are definitely going to get hit hard. Meaning, for both of these scenarios, I think the potential is better for things that have a higher market cap. And again, higher market cap is like a little bit too big of a definition here. As I mean, I think it's better to go for the highly fundamental ones, as again, that's basically what I mean high market cap here. Coins that have proven fundamentals that we know will sustain for, let's say, a couple more years to go. And there's just a lot of cryptos in the entire list here, even in this list right now, that will most likely not survive for more than 10 years, if you ask me, you know? I don't want to name any names, but, you know, there's a lot of coins out there which have a very high probability of not surviving for a longer period of time. And the higher you go, the lower that chance is as of this point. And again, if I look back in 2017, when I was also doing the daily crypto news as well, it's been a long time, there was a lot of crypto in there which we wouldn't think would leave either. Like, for example, Dash. Where is it now? Nowhere to be seen. A couple months ago, Stellar was in the top 10. Where is it now? 29. And so forth and so on. You know, Litecoin used to be number 4 or whatever. Right now it's number 19. And so forth and so on. So you never really know exactly how things are going to pan out, so to speak. But the higher you go, the higher the probability of you succeeding over a grand scheme of things, basically. So, all right, and then I want to quickly show you guys a little bit about some of the crypto prices that are going around, or things that I find interesting. So, having said that, on the XRP chart, as we said before, we got the bullish confirmation. So theoretically speaking, we should be in a long position. For Bitcoin, we did not get the confirmation. We got the confirmation on the 4-hour, 1-hour, 50-minute, whatever. not on the daily though, and so theoretically speaking, we should not take the long position, we should take the short position. The difficult thing is, I already had one long position open over on Bitcoin, as we were basically testing something out about the inverse correlation, and right now as we speak, XRP is gearing up for a move into a certain direction. Now, in about 25 minutes or so, we're going to close this candle, and I don't believe we'll actually close outside this little triangle of ours. We can actually point out a couple of different points, but just putting it here for convenience sake, doesn't really matter too much. We're going to get out of this triangle most likely within the next 4 hours, right? We're going to move somewhere. Again, we can kind of throw it out a little bit further. I guess that would all still suffice with a little, I don't know how to say it in English actually, but just let's just say it, our convergence, I guess. So, yeah, this is mostly going to be a breakout towards either side. It's looking most like a bullish pennant, and what that looks like, by the way, is a bullish impulse. Oh, a bullish impulse with a little pennant like this, or a little flag like that afterwards. And this is usually a very bullish sign, because then what they say is if we do break out towards the upside, that you're basically taking in the entire, let's just say about, as an average, let's say about 7% or so from the breakout point upwards, which could be some crazy gains. Again, if we break out towards the upside at about 71, 72 cents or so. We're just going to have to look at all the resistances at that point. But let's just see, I guess, if XP does break out towards the upside, because again, the fundamentals did show that we should take a long position. If you're not in one, no worries, guys, but that's again what the fundamentals say, and that's what we basically should be doing. On Bitcoin, again, what we should be doing is going for a short position still, as it's still higher likelihood to win. But if we're going to be honest, it's going to depend on what's going to happen to the stock market tomorrow. As we have explored now the inverse correlation, it has worked for a little while, but it's not consistent. The positive correlation is also not consistent. So Bitcoin right now is not necessarily following the stock market one-to-one anymore. It's in a really strange position. Because again, look back, guys. So for Bitcoin, remember this little bullish surge right here? It was all happening while the stock market was actually dumping like crazy. So that is again a very interesting point. And then this pump here for the stock market was also happening while Bitcoin was pumping, and then this dump here was also happening while Bitcoin was pumping. So that's why I'm saying not really easy to draw a correlation out of this. So the stock market is a little bit less important than before, but still quite critical. It looks like XRP could again have a little shift. It's such an interesting space here, guys. We called out for 0.666 to be the most crucial point for right now, but it's a really interesting battle last couple of days, guys. It's been a really interesting battle. Let me know down below what you think about the crypto prices. Right now, we're seeing almost no volatility whatsoever. You can see most of the cryptos are at about 1% down, 1% up, 2% down, 2% down, 3% down. Really not happening too much. The short position looks like the better, position to have as at this point, but it's so neutral that I'm like, ooh, this might actually not be the truth. Over the last hour or so, most cryptos are down 2%, I'm seeing, so we're seeing a little bit of a dump. Let us see how this plays out, guys. You know my thoughts, which are Bitcoin short position right now as we speak, XRP long position right now as we speak, but that's again just fundamentals. One of them definitely might not work out. We're watching for a breakout on the XRP chart right now as we speak as well. It might break out towards the downside, then the pennant is invalidated. We're going to be breaking down further, which again is a different strategy, different trade setup, different everything, It's also a funny little concept, I guess, to put out there, that there's multiple different trade setups and there's multiple different trades you can take, and sometimes the bigger trade, for example, contradicts the short-term trade. This is again a little bit of a shorter-term trade, as is the 4-hour candle, or 4-hour candles, not the daily.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.